Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Trailblazer of Light. I have all new perspective about people who pretend to be something they're not. And anyway, let's give Georgia her treat. Do you want a treat? Since I'm gonna say hi to everybody first. Wanna say hi to everybody first? Look over here. Over here, Georgia. Say hi. You gonna say hi? You gonna say hi? Come here. Come say hi. Say hi, everybody. Say hi. Oh, yeah. Mwah. There she is. There's my bestie. Alright. There you go. Oh, good girl. So I had an invite to the lake yesterday and with a friend of mine. And while we were there, uh, this guy was down on this rock and he had his hands out and he was praying. And I felt really drawn to that. And I've been looking for my soul tribe for a while now, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta go and talk to this guy. And so I told my friend that I had gone with, and he was like, yeah, go for it. And so I walked down there, and as I was walking down there, he was walking off and walking away, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. And he turned around and he was like, yeah, what do you want? And I was like, hey, I saw you down there praying on that rock. I'd like to take a picture of you doing that. I'd like that for my YouTube channel. And he goes, oh, yeah. And so I started telling him about my accident and how I met Jesus and I died and went to the other side and met Jesus. And he was like, wow. He says, I have a testimony myself. He says, I could have gone to prison for 100 years. And the Lord rescued me from that too. And so he was saved also. And I was like, oh my God, this is just like these are the stories I like talking about and meeting these types of people and hearing their stories and everything. And I was like, yay! I was excited to give him one of my CDs and stuff, and I didn't have my keys with me, unfortunately, to unlock my car, but we exchanged each other's names and stuff, and put each other on Facebook as friends, and I was really just like, yay! This is super exciting. And so I got a couple pictures of him and took a couple pictures for himself, and I went back and sat with my friend, and we were just sitting there talking about my experience that I had just had, and it was enlightening. And then he started walking. I thought, I was catching him as he was getting ready to get in his car and leave, but then he started walking back down where me and my friend was, and I said, hey, I was going to introduce him to my friend, and he just kind of like just ignored me. I was like, what? I said to my friend, I said, did you just see that? He was like, yeah, I just seen that. I was like, okay, well, maybe he just was whatever. And so um, he walked off, and I was like, okay. And then Georgia took her to the park too in the water, and she was like just foaming at the mouth. Like, she was hot. I mean, I had water and everything for her, but she was just really. So I went to go and take her down to the water, and as I was going to take her down to the water, here this guy comes with this lady and her daughter, and and I was gonna let the little girl pet the dog because I had just met him, and I don't care if he's got a girlfriend. I wasn't there to hook up with anybody anyway, and so I was like, hey, and he just ignored me, and I was like, that was freaking rude. What the heck is that? So I got my own interpretation from that right away, and took Georgia down to the water, and I let her get wet and calmed her, cooled her down and stuff, and and my friend came down, and he was getting his feet wet, and I said, did you see that? He goes, yeah, I saw that. He says, that's bizarre. I was like, that is bizarre, right? It's just strange behavior, right? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, When I get home, I'm unfriending him from Facebook. I don't need that kind of phony baloney in my territory. I call these types of people wolves in sheep's clothing, and that's what I gotta be worried. That's what I gotta be vigilant about moving forward. And I believe God showed me that yesterday was like, just because people present themselves as out there praying for everybody to see, it doesn't necessarily mean that the inside of themselves is clean and they're just doing it for a show. And that's what I was like, yeah, this dude is definitely hiding something. And that, I don't know if it was his wife or maybe his girlfriend, and he didn't want her to think that he'd been talking to me for whatever reason. I mean, Christians don't do that. Like, they're more open and well, because I was ready to introduce him to my friend. Come on over and sit down with us for a minute. Let's chat. Let's have this conversation about Jesus. And it wasn't anything like that at all. And so it was a really huge eye opener for me. And I haven't come this far just to hang out with people who are phony and wolves in sheep's clothing. I'm really interested in getting to know people who really have had experiences with the Lord and wants to share it and be heard about their life's experiences. That's what it's about. Not some phony, fake, oh, take my picture and ooh, look at me kind of thing. I'm not into that. I don't do that myself, and never would I ever. I mean, I'm presenting the Lord, and this fish definitely was out of water. He was a shark in the water, and I would have guessed if I had left before seeing that, which I'm really glad God let me see that, because I really wanted to hear this guy's message. And so when I got home, because we had friended each other on Facebook, I just out of curiosity wanted to see what kind of bird this was, and or fish. And so I went on his Facebook, and he had some videos of himself, and one of the videos was saying nigger this and nigger that, and I was like, okay, I'm all set. And that's all it took for me, was just that, because first 5 minutes of talking to somebody, usually I can figure him out, but obviously this character was pretty good at presenting himself as a follower of Christ. But I've got to be a little bit more careful about who I let into my territory. And so that message for anybody, if you hear it, is just be mindful. Just because somebody comes presenting as a light doesn't mean that they are. Even Satan came as a light. He was a symbol of light, and he's a fake. And so that's the message today, is just be careful who you let into your territory. Wolves in sheep's clothing. They sit at the pew too, right next to us. And so anyway, on that note, I just wanted to share that, because that was a really good experience for me yesterday as a warning moving forward. All right, everybody. I love you and I care about you, and I hope you have a blessed day and a blessed weekend. And please like, comment, and share. It helps the algorithm, and I would really appreciate it if you did do that. So on that note, peace, love, and light, and go forth and sprout.